Ready to do this, Mr. Camilton? What's going on, guys? I'm adruber, this is Mr. Camilton, and today we are going to be taking a look at what I think is one of the worst movies I have ever seen in my life. Also, we've got some new videos added to the collection. We're gonna run those down. All this and more coming up. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so first things first, I made it through two films from my unwatched film list, and one of them was this guy right here, Art Heist. This was a terrible movie. I also watched An American Tail. I'm hoping to get through American Tail 5 Will Goes West soon here, but we'll get to that one in just a bit. This is what I want to start out talking about, because this is a wildly terrible movie. So why did I pick this one up? I'd never heard anything about this. I've never heard of Art Heist before. I picked this up because I was digging through some really cheap movies at a thrift store, and I had this in my hand, and I forgot I had it in my hand, and I went up to the register, and I was like, oh, I have this still. You know what? It's super cheap. Why not? So I got it, because I was like, whatever, I'll check it out. Oh boy. This is an extremely generic movie, and what's weird is there are some parts that are like super good about this movie, and other parts that are just so bad, and so it clashes so hard. This is honestly kind of fun to watch, how bad this movie is. It's one of those movies for me. So, Art Heist. I kept looking, thinking that this had to be like a TV, like a pilot for a TV show. My camera almost fell over there, but that's fine. Anyway, I kept looking, going, this has to be like a pilot for a TV show or something, right? But no, as far as I can find, this is just a standalone movie. The story is an extremely generic art heist story. Like, there are these guys stealing the art, and there's a plot twist at the end that is so extremely predictable. I didn't realize it was supposed to be a twist, except that the music and the reactions of the characters clearly showed it was supposed to be a twist. See, one of the things about this, and I hope I can streamline my thought process a little bit here, but one of the things about this is the locations are actually really, really cool. Like, visually it looks good. It's shot terribly, but like the locations are cool. And stuff like the story's actually kind of decent. Like, it's generic, but I think it could work if you had like super fun, charismatic actors that are like, no, they're in this kind of super generic movie, and so they're just hamming it up for all it's worth. But that's not what you have in here. You've got some of the worst, most wooden acting I've ever seen, especially from her.
My husband, the alpha male, trying to control things.
Say, partner, all this detective work has made me hungry.
I don't know.
The lead actress, but also everyone. And the daughter, oh man.
50 cents.
For what?
Mommy says whenever you swear to God, give me 50 cents.
50 cents, is that right? The hell is this?
Now it's $1.
You're killing me, kid.
It's bad. But like the music's actually pretty good. So there's some things that like work, but then there's others that work so terribly bad. It's hilarious to watch as some of this stuff I think is good, and then anywho. The other really weird part about this movie that I want to touch on is it's PG. It's a very PG movie throughout most of it. The only swearing that's done is in front of their daughter so that she can say, 50 cents for the swear jar, please. That's like the only amount of R-rated stuff that's in there, except for one scene. There's one scene that comes out of nowhere that's like super hard R. And I don't know why. It's mind-boggling. It's so odd. And like I said, it comes out of nowhere. It doesn't really serve the story of the movie or the tone of the movie. Like, it does nothing. It's just out of place, I feel, just to get an R rating because they felt like they needed an R rating on this or something. I don't know. I actually super enjoyed watching this. It's a terrible movie, but I would recommend checking this out. Check this out with like a group of friends and tear this thing apart because it is bad. Oh yeah, it was bad. Alright, I also ended up watching An American Tail. I'm just going to go through this real quick. I thought it was fine. It's a Don Bluth movie. If you've seen one Don Bluth movie, you've seen them all, really. The animation is superb on this thing, but I feel like the story is just kind of a little bit meandery at times. It pulls together actually really good at the end. I love the ending, the climax, the resolution, all of that was great. Imagery is spot on. That's why I love Don Bluth, for the imagery that he creates with animation. But the songs are kind of mediocre and they come out of nowhere, and typically I don't think any of the Don Bluth films should be musicals, yet somehow most of them seem to be. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got with An American Tail. It's fine. I know a lot of people consider it a classic. I wouldn't consider it that great, but whatever. Yeah. So, that's about all I've got for An American Tail. Was there anything else you wanted to add to that? No? Okay. Alright. Now we come to the fun part, where I'm going to run down some of the new movies that I found that I'm going to add to my film collection, which will not be good for the total of unwatched movies in my film collection, but I have some really, really cool stuff here. So, let's get into it. Alright. So first up is my haul from the Dollar Tree. All of these Blu-rays, they're all Blu-rays here. What? All these Blu-rays I got for $1 at the Dollar Tree, which is amazing to me that we can pick up brand new Blu-rays for $1. I love that. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's start with this one right here. I picked up Journey to the Center of the Earth. I only ever watched this once at a friend's house with like 3D glasses on. We did the whole gimmicky thing. The reason I picked this up is A, it was $1. B, I have Journey 2 in my collection with Dwayne Johnson. But I don't have the first one here. So, yeah, I thought why not? For $1, it completes that, that film collection, I guess. Alright, let's see. Oh, Place at the Table. I picked this one up. This is a documentary. It's from the same guys who made Food Inc., which is a documentary that I super loved watching, and so I figured, again, $1, why not pick it up? I enjoy documentaries, so I'm excited to check that one out. Here's one. This is a blind buy for me. Actually, the last 3 of these really are blind buys. I've not heard heads or tails about any of these films, but this one, At the Gate of the Ghost. This looks like a kung fu movie to me. I picked this one up, and then later on I read the back, and it sounds super interesting. It looks like it's won a couple awards right there, which is cool. I think this is going to be a really good movie. Again, it's a blind buy. I've got no idea what I'm getting into. Sometimes on those blind buys, you end up with stuff like this, absolute garbage films, but I don't think that's what's going to happen here. Here's another one that I got blind buy, Howard Lovecraft and Ursula's Kingdom. I don't know, this looks super interesting to me. I feel like you don't find a lot of independently animated movies, which is what this appears to be. Yeah. And, I don't know. I find that animation is, for me, one of my favorite forms of visual storytelling. I think animation is most always the perfect way to tell a story visually. Not always, but most always. It's my preferred method, and I don't think that animated films are living up to what they should, at least here in America. But this looked interesting to me, so, yeah, I thought for $1, I'll check it out. I gave it a watch for $1. Now, this last one that I picked up from the Dollar Tree is it's an oddball. Alright, this is it right here. It's called Species. And, this cover art really grabbed me. I was like, what is that? This cover art looks super cool. But then I was looking at it, and I was like, that's not the actual cover art. That's just a piece of cardboard that they've placed into the packaging there. That's not the actual cover art. So then it got me real curious. So I opened it up, and I found out that this was the original cover art. And, yeah. If I had seen this, I probably would not have bought this movie, because this looks like a bad TV series to me, or like a real generic 2000s TV show, whereas this looks like some sort of weird epic monster movie, which I love monster movies. This looks more cult. This looks just generic, standard stuff. So, that be a lesson to any marketing people out there, I guess. You know, the way you market your films is huge. I mean, I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but that's what you see, and that's what initially is going to draw you in. And a cover like this definitely draws me in much more than a cover like this. So I just found that interesting, that the repackage of it and all, but this looks interesting. This looks wild, so I'm super interested to check this one out. Alright, and I also picked a couple movies up from Walmart. This is just gonna be real quick here. I found these in like the $3 bin or whatever. These were super cheap as well. I got World War Z. This is a zombie movie. Like I said, I love monster movies. This is a zombie movie that came out, that I feel like has gotten pretty decent reviews. Like, everyone, I feel like I've heard a lot of good things about this, and it's one I've wanted to check out for a while, and I haven't, but I found it for cheap, and I said, yes, absolutely, I want to check out World War Z. And lastly here, I picked up It. This is the miniseries, with, what's his name? Tim Curry. This is the miniseries with Tim Curry, and I haven't seen the new movies, nor have I seen this TV series, but it has always been has always intrigued me, and I'm like, I want to check that out sometime. Again, for cheap, and this was cheap, and so I said, yes please, I will check that out for the cheap. So, that's what I got, which means my total of unwatched movies are now at 211 films, which is mind-boggling. Why do I keep doing this? Listen, when I started my list, I had 204. I really need to slow down on how many films I'm buying. But when Blu-rays for $1, I don't know if I can. It's hard. Anyway, guys, that's about all I got. What have you guys been watching this week? Let me know down in the comments. I've also been watching the behind-the-scenes docu-series of Frozen 2. That's been really interesting, and I think gives a lot of insight to why and how the film ended up the way it did. It's definitely a committee-made film rather than the singular vision of one director, and I just find it fascinating watching the behind-the-scenes of stuff like that. Anywho, yeah, that's all I got for you. Mr. Hamilton, do you have anything else? No? Alright, guys, so that's about all I've got for this week. Leave a like on this video. It really helps out small creators like myself. Consider subscribing if you like this content, and, you know what, leave a comment. Let me know what you've been watching recently. So yeah, that's about all I got for you. See ya!